can the business that you're about to buy actually stay in the premises after the sale has gone through? The short answer is not always. And when it comes to a share sale, even when you think that the lease comes with the company, the change of control clause can put you in breach the day of completion. Let me walk you through 3 things that every buyer must check before committing to the purchase. But before we get started, let me actually just very quickly make a disclaimer. I'm not a specialist property solicitor. I'm a corporate solicitor who helps people buy businesses. And when it comes to companies that have a property element, especially if the property element is very important, I would typically work alongside a specialist property solicitor who will then deal with those aspects. Fantastic, let's get started. And this is the one that catches buyers out the most. Usually, a well-drafted commercial lease includes change of control clauses. That means that if there is a change of control of the limited company that is a tenant under the lease, that change of control is seen as an assignment or an attempted assignment of the lease, and therefore it would give the landlord the right to terminate the lease. Here's the trap. You can buy 100% of the shares in the target company, complete the deal, and find out that you're technically in breach of the lease the moment that you complete on the purchase. The landlord's remedies, as mentioned, typically include the right to end the lease, and that means that the company now needs to vacate the premises. To avoid this, make sure to read the lease in full, of course, at the start of due diligence. If there's a change of control clause, make sure to get the seller to seek landlord consent as a condition precedent. That means that completion won't happen until consent from the landlord is received. Second, the Landlord and Tenant Act 1954 gives most business tenants a legal right to renew their lease, even if the landlord doesn't really want to do so. The court can effectively order a new lease if the parties can't agree. But landlords routinely insist on contracting out of those rights, meaning that a contracted out lease ends on the expiry date. It doesn't automatically renew. If you're buying a business with 2 years left on a contracted out lease, you're not buying 10 years of trading at that address. You're buying just 2. So what you want to ask is the lease contracted out of the 1954 Act? And this is where I see most buyers of small businesses get caught out. In owner-managed businesses, the seller often owns both the trading company and the property that the target company trades from, through either a property holding company in their personal name or through a self-administered pension. They sell the business, retain the property, and the lease becomes part of their retirement income. Now, typically the problem there is that the lease was put in place by the same person. They were both the owner of the property and the owner of the business, and therefore they had the ability to effectively decide what terms go into that lease. If they were planning on selling the business in the future and intended to retain the property, as is often the case with many sellers, they might have wanted to include provisions in the lease that would benefit them as a landlord as opposed to them as a business owner. That might include, for example, a very long term for the lease, many years, a higher rent, and more onerous obligations. So when the landlord is the same person as the seller, the lease should be seen as another document to be negotiated as part of the deal, just like you would negotiate a share purchase agreement. Even if the lease is already in place, has already been signed, it doesn't mean that you can't ask the seller to take the required action to effectively cancel that lease and use a new one that has been negotiated by yourself with the seller. And that's how you conduct a very brief property due diligence when it comes to a lease for the premises of the target business. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer them, and if I can't, then I'll reach out to a property solicitor who should be able to assist. Have you seen all of my legal due diligence videos? You can start learning about the most important due diligence area, in my opinion, if you're conducting a share purchase, and that is corporate records. Learn about inspecting corporate records by watching this video right here. Thank you for watching.